You have probably already heard about New York's High Line, that iconic elevated park built on an abandoned railway track that winds through Manhattan's West Side. It's been considered one of the greatest urbanism projects of the last few years, and for good reason. It is just brilliant. But I recently discovered that Mexico City just opened something that could rival the High Line, and I'm not exaggerating. We're talking about a 1.8-kilometer floating garden built directly over a busy metro line, packed with over 80,000 plants, featuring 18 monumental sculptures, and designed not just as a park but as a community hub with free services. The Jardín Flotante Tlallipan is Mexico City's evolution into a more modern approach to urbanism. But is it really a more ambitious, more community-focused, and more useful version of the High Line, or just a copycat? Well, I went there to discover the answer myself, and my verdict will surprise you. This is your host, Isaac, and welcome to Awesome Third Places. Let's start with the original. The High Line in New York City stretches 1.45 miles, or about 2.3 kilometers, and it runs through Manhattan's West Side. Built on a former elevated freight rail line that operated from 1934 until 1980, it sat abandoned and decaying for decades before a group of dedicated advocates fought to save it from demolition. The first section opened in 2009, and the final section was completed in 2014. It cost about $187 million to build and now draws millions of visitors annually. The design is genius. The park weaves through buildings, offering stunning views of the Hudson River and the Manhattan skyline. It features over 500 species of plants and trees, carefully curated to evoke the wild, self-seeded landscape that grew on the tracks during its abandoned years. It's a masterclass in adaptive reuse, a place where industrial infrastructure was transformed into something green, communal, and utterly unique. But here's the thing. The High Line, for all its brilliance, was built on an abandoned railway. It was a relic of the past, repurposed. But what about Tlalpan? It was built on something that's very much alive, one of the busiest metro lines in the world, and that changes everything. Here's what surprised me the most about Tlalpan. The Jardín Flotante Tlallipan wasn't built on abandoned tracks. It was built over the active Linea 2 of the Mexico City Metro, running from the Pino Suarez station to the Chabacano station. That means construction crews had to build this elevated park while trains kept running beneath them. They essentially built a second layer of city, a floating pedestrian paradise directly above a system that moves millions of people every single day. And the scale is staggering. The park covers over 15,400 square meters of pedestrian infrastructure, with 6,200 square meters dedicated to green space. That's over 66,000 square feet of park floating above the city. It's a complete urban ecosystem designed with intention and ambition. The design of Tlalpan is where things get really interesting. The High Line celebrates the industrial past and the wild flora that reclaimed it. Tlalpan celebrates Mexico City's natural and cultural heritage in a way that's deeply rooted in the region's identity. The park is divided into 7 thematic sections, each named after an endemic species of the Valley of Mexico. Along the way, you encounter 18 monumental sculptures of these creatures, each one a work of art that reminds you of the incredible biodiversity that once flourished in the valley. And the vegetation is equally thoughtful. The park features 176 trees of species like jacarandas, flor de mayo, pear trees, and evergreen oaks. There are 2,000 shrubs and over 80,000 pollinator plants, species specifically chosen to attract bees, butterflies, and other beneficial insects. In fact, authorities have called it the longest pollinator garden in Mexico City. It's a green lung, a biodiversity corridor, and a living classroom all rolled into one. But here's where Tlalpan truly separates itself from the High Line. The High Line is a park. Tlalpan is a floating utopia. The word utopia might sound a bit out of place for you here, but that is just how the current administration of Mexico City has named the government-led initiative aimed to transform neglected urban spaces into vibrant community hubs. A typical utopia is a multifunctional complex that offers a wide range of free services and activities, centered around at least 10 guiding pillars, including cultural, sports, environmental, economic, health, and educational programs. The park is equipped with 9 illuminated fountains, 7 pergolas, 8 large canopies for community activities, 64 rest areas, and a monumental screen for outdoor film screenings and cultural events. It's designed for more than just walking. It's designed for gathering, for learning, for community building. And the services are extraordinary. The park will offer free community services including a popular dining hall, health services, preventive care, emotional wellness support, assistance for women in situations of violence, and programs for the elderly. It's a space where people can not only enjoy nature but also access essential services. The park operates daily from 5 a.m. to midnight with permanent security and video surveillance. It features 900 lighting elements, including posts, bollards, projectors, and luminaires, distributed throughout the corridor. It's safe, it's accessible, and it's designed to be used by everyone: families, seniors, children, and young people. Connecting Tlallipan to the rest of the city is just as impressive as the park itself. The corridor links to the Linea 2 metro, the new Gran Tenochtitlan bike path, and the Camino Libre, which extends 34 kilometers from the historic center to Periférico. The park is accessed via two monumental staircases at either end, and the entire project is part of a larger, comprehensive transformation of Calzada de Tlalpan that includes a 34-kilometer bike path, the rehabilitation of 70,000 square meters of sidewalks, the installation of nearly 7,000 light fixtures, and the modernization of the Linea 2 metro itself. This isn't a standalone project. It's a piece of a much larger vision for reclaiming the city for people, not cars. And I should be honest with you, the project hasn't been without its critics. Some local residents have protested, arguing that the 1.9 billion pesos investment could have been better spent on modernizing the metro. Others have raised concerns about gentrification of the nearby neighborhoods and the displacement of informal vendors. There have also been practical concerns. When the park was inaugurated on June 7, 2026, the connection with the Chabacano metro station was still incomplete. Visitors have expressed worries about maintenance. "We came to see it before it deteriorates. If there's no good surveillance and maintenance, it's money thrown away," said one visitor. And they were not wrong. Along my walk, I stumbled into these stationary bicycles that seemed like they were installed there with the purpose of letting the public exercise, but they were already in a state of visible disrepair, especially in the gear area of each bike, which renders them unusable. Either way, I hope some authority notices this and give the bike some much-needed maintenance. But the early public reaction has been overwhelmingly positive. People are coming from other regions of Mexico just to see it, and for many, it represents a fundamental shift in how the city thinks about public space. The Calzada de Tlalpan has been one of Mexico City's most important corridors since pre-Hispanic times, but for decades, it was dominated by cars. The park represents a conscious decision to reclaim that space for people. Tlallipan is a statement about the people and social fabric. It's a declaration that cities don't have to be designed for cars. They can also be designed for people and families, for communities, and for dignity. And it's happening at a scale that's almost hard to comprehend. So let me return to the question I started with. Did Mexico City build a better version of the High Line? The High Line is extraordinary. It transformed a derelict railway into one of the most beloved public spaces on Earth. It inspired cities around the world to rethink what's possible. And it did it with elegance, restraint, and a deep respect for history. But Tlallipan is something else entirely. Sure, it is shorter, 1.8 kilometers of floating garden compared to the High Line's 2.3 kilometers, but with twice the green space density, it's more ambitious. It's more culturally grounded, celebrating endemic species and Nahuatl heritage. And it's more community-focused, offering free services, cultural programming, and spaces for gathering that go far beyond what any park in New York provides. Which one do I think it's better? My answer is that it doesn't really matter, because both of them are good enough. Both are examples of great urbanism, a step on the right direction for any city that decides to embark themselves into a project like this. And honestly, that's exactly what the world needs more of. If you like this video, perhaps you will also like my previous one where I rank which are, in my opinion, the top 5 US cities with the most ridiculously unreal geography. Bye.